What up? My name is Uti Nwachukwu and I am a game changer.
The one, the only winner of Big Brother All-Stars 2010, $200,000 richer. Uti Nwachukwu.
So there were a few experiences that I know molded me up when I was growing up. I think first, I would say my parents. We had this, especially my mom had this, we had a habit of always praying. So we always used to pray every morning and evening. I remember grumbling when they had to wake us up as early as 6 for morning prayers, or we're watching this very interesting movie, and then maybe like 10 before my mom goes to bed, or 11, she would gather the whole family in the living room and say we have to pray. And because I grew up in a small town, my dad filled up that house with a lot of international standard movies, mostly British content, funny enough. So we watched a lot of British movies, British shows, of course the good American classics and all that. And that's where the passion came from, and that's how I started to fantasize about being an entertainer. And yeah, I would pick those two, religiously and talent-wise. Those were the two experiences that I can really think of that have molded me to become who I am today. And of course, just growing up with my family and listening to the things we held in high regard, and the do's and the don'ts, and the moral lessons that basically we learned from just being a family and how we were supposed to be perceived outside. Oh, the do's and the don'ts. It was basically like, I learned a lot about loyalty growing up. It was all about, and how we never had to worship money or be close to someone because they were rich, or, we were not carried away by wealth. Because, thankfully, I came at a time where things were really good for the family. I'm the last born, so yeah, there were just some things that we're not allowed to do. Like, it was frowned upon to engage in certain activities, like my dad would always tell us about how it was bad to be a drunkard or smoke, or of course for us guys and the girls to sleep around, and then the general experiences of the kind of people you should be seeing around. Like, in layman's terms, don't follow bad people, don't follow bad children. I remember then I was so confused as to why my dad wanted to know who my friends' dads were or parents were or what kind of family they came from. I was like, what does it matter? They're my friends. But now I'm older, there's some people I would not want my children associating with. You see the way some people behave, and in your mind you're like, tomorrow this one now will give birth to children. I wonder how this person will raise those children up. I'm sure my kids would also be saying, why does daddy want to know who my friends' parents are? Because there are some people I do not want my children associating with. So now I totally understand that. And, good schooling. My dad made sure we went to some of the best schools. I always had private schooling. My only experience with public schooling was UNN, where I got my diploma before I went to BIU. But generally, I always had very good schooling. He placed a lot of value on education, so as my mom. And we had records that would teach us how to speak properly then. Education was key. Dressing was key. We had this common slogan that Nigerians use: dress the way you want to be addressed. My dad and my mom, they always had this thing about, tuck in your shirts, wear dress shirts, talk even if you wear jeans, and stuff like that basically. In other words, raised quite well. Thus far, I would say my greatest achievement will still have to be my Big Brother Africa winning, because that's my turnaround. That's the turnaround for me. Winning Big Brother Africa All-Stars, being the first All-Star winner, has definitely got to feel good. I'm not one of those people that will forget where they came from. No matter how many things I get today, which I've gotten a lot, I would still go back to the Big Brother Africa victory, because that's when things just turned around for me. It just opened more doors, more opportunities came, I became more recognized, I became worthy to represent more brands and to star in movies and to present shows and host events and all that. So no matter how many big, huge things come, even when I do cross over to the international scene, I would still go back to the game changer, the thing that changed it all for me, which was winning Big Brother Africa. Mentally, I started my profession and career from, mentally, I started it as far back as when I was 8, 9. I started fantasizing about being on stage, doing what I do now. Physically, I started chasing my dreams in 2006. Yes, coincidentally, that's the same year I started chasing my dreams actually in 2003, after my diploma in Osuka. That's when I submitted my pictures for the first modeling gigs. I couldn't really do much because I was working with GTB after my diploma, so I couldn't travel for auditions and all that, but I was shortlisted for a number of auditions. And it was not until 2006 I took the first bold step to star in a music video, Tunde Umi Obe's Mobomoya. And also my friend's sister, Angela Nwago, she also submitted my pictures, and then I was shortlisted for the Airtel, Celtel, or one of them, a billboard ad. That's where it all started from. And for acting, it was when I auditioned for Next Movie Star in 2007, and I started with small projects like I starred in a series, Bachelor series. It's called The Bachelors, I think. And that was the same year after the first Big Brother where I didn't win, that's the year I met Mr. Dominic and Desmond Elliott, and they just made it easy for me to transition into the acting industry. As for TV presenting, I first presented a show in 2009 called You and I, before Jara, and that's basically how the struggle started for me and the hustle. And now I've just been eased into the world of TV presenting, acting, modeling, and events hosting. So, yeah. If there's that step I don't regret taking, that a lot of people criticize, was not leaving the Big Brother house, even when my dad passed away. When my dad died while I was in the game, I was ready to leave. I wanted to leave the game. When they broke the news to me, it was heartbreaking. And the producers called me, and they said, they asked me, do you want to leave now? You can leave now, we can leave. I was like, yeah, I'll leave, but let me talk to my family first. So I spoke to my family, and they were like, everyone is okay. I was very concerned about my mom. They were like, she's okay, she's fine. And they were like, if I'm ready to leave, I should just let them know. I said, yeah. So the producers asked me, take a day or two, decide, and let us know. So after a day or two, I went back and I spoke to my siblings, and I was like, what do you guys think? And they were like, well, you're the last born. We're taking care of everything already. When it's time for the funeral, we think, because this is the last thing you told Daddy. And I was like, yes, my dad was never a quitter. So he said, if you get evicted, fine. But before the funeral, if people still want you in the game, I think you should stay. So when I got out of the game after winning, they were telling me of how our family friends, some of our close friends, some of our relatives were sending them email messages to say, tell Uti to come out, he's not going to win. Why is he there? Why is he embarrassing you people? How can you, is that you people love money? And I was like, what about the money? This is the last born. What's he coming here to do? To come and mourn and cry? No, the last mission he told his father and his father approved of. You want him to quit? No, leave the boy, let him finish. If people want him out, then evict him now, you know? So, till today I still ask myself, I'm like, what if I had left? What if I hadn't stuck to what my father had always taught us, that no matter what happens, keep moving, especially if, you know, it has something to do with your future. Keep moving. I've lived my life. Keep moving. And as God will have it, I stayed. I was waiting for them to call me out of the house, but then there was flooding in the village, and they postponed the funeral till November, and the game was ending in October. So I ended up finishing the game and winning, and still making the funeral. In fact, I had weeks to spend with them before the funeral, and yeah, that was a very bold step. Even in the house, I was criticized. And that was a very bold, very bold step for me. It's all about focus. You'll be distracted, you'll be derailed, and then there are times when you have to make very life-affecting choices. You have to know the difference between being greedy, being ambitious, and having heart. You will be torn between those two, but then you have to be very reasonable at times to make sure that you're making the right decision. For me, I thought about all my father has said to me. That's why I like the support my family has always given me. If I'd come from your typical traditional family, they would be like, come out of there, abomination. How can you be there? Your father has died. But I guess it's because there was a lot of Western influence in the way we were raised. And my siblings just basically said, when it's time for the funeral, you come out. There's nothing you're doing out here. You're just going to come out and mourn with us and join everyone in crying. You're the last born. What are you coming to do? You have the first boy, the firstborn. We're all taking care of mommy. So I thank God for my family. Imagine now, I would have still been asking myself, I wonder what would have happened if I had stayed in that house. So yeah, that sticks out like a very nice tattoo. Every time I look and I'm like, thank God I stayed there. And of course, going back to BIU, I really wanted to go abroad, and because I thought my dreams were going to take off from there. And then the visa lottery thing, I was denied eventually, name error, and student visas were denied. And then my father was like, just go back to BIU. Just go to BIU. Just pick a private university and go, and there's one school available. And I did not want to go. I'm like, I don't want to do school in Nigeria again. So this is a private university, things will work out right, blah, 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 blah. And then a lot of my friends that were against me schooling in Nigeria eventually said, you know what, just do it. It's a private university, just do it. And I'm happy because I ended up schooling there and then finishing with a 3.9 GPA. And today, it passed. It just went by so fast. By 2009, I was out. So that's another bold step I took. While I was looking for Yankee, I decided to just go for that. Even going back again for the second time, a lot of people were skeptical. They're like, Kevin had one big brother the year before me, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And then we had the Thanksgiving service called the God of a Second Chance. We asked to pray for the second chance of anything. I didn't know what to pray for. I just prayed for a second chance of whatever God knows will glorify His name the most in my life. And a few days later, the letter came from Big Brother to be part of the game. So it was so obvious that God wanted to do something with that show. And not a lot of people were in support, and I couldn't even tell a lot of people. They were like, someone just won. What are the odds of Nigeria winning again? Are you sure this whole fame again? Even if you don't win, what will you do? So I was very scared. I was nervous, but I'm glad I took that step. So yeah, those things, they stick out for me. I would say, for people out there that always come to me to say, oh, Uti, I want to be like you, what should I do? How do I go about it? And the first thing I'll say is, without God, you're joking. It's like skydiving without a parachute. Jesus is your parachute. God is my everything. The only reason I do what I'm doing now is because I got a go-ahead from God. And my life, everything, I hand my life over to the perfect will of God every day of my life. There's nothing that happens in my life that God is not aware of or God does not allow. I don't even ask for his permissive will, I ask for his perfect will. I ask constantly, consistently for his perfect will in my life. So that's the first step. And then when you do that, you have to pray and ask God to direct you and just only manifest his perfect will in your life. And you'll begin to receive different passions, and God will drop it in your heart. And whatever you're fantasizing about, that is what God has ordained you to be. Whatever you constantly fantasize about, seeing yourself doing it, as long as it's good or not the bad ones. So, yeah. So you have to nurture that dream in your heart. It mustn't always be entertainment. It mustn't be, if it's not in the will of God for you to be an entertainer, you're wasting your time. Whatever you're passionate about, whatever you do and you lighten up when you're doing it, that is what you've been created to do. So you have to find that, and you have to pray for God to reveal that to you and follow that path. And you have to be focused. You have to stay focused. You may have to sacrifice a lot of things to achieve your dreams. And yeah, focus is the key, man. You have to stay focused, and you have to separate yourself. You will have to, at different times, separate yourself from the crowd to go and develop yourself and your talent and all that. And just never forget where you come from. You need family. Without family too, you might just go astray. Always remember family. Always remember where you come from, and just stay focused. And that's all. Eyes on the prize.